All right, thanks everyone for being here today. We all know what this week is. It's not just another game for us. Our players understand that. Our staff understands that. Our fans understand that as well. Last week we had a chance to practice 3 days and also hit the recruiting trail, which was good for us. We're still very well received out on the recruiting trail. And so we'll have a productive recruiting class. We were also out in the community last week with our players and staff. I want to thank Darian Harris for organizing all of those events, and it was good to see our guys out in the community serving. We had a chance to get our players rested, try to get some guys back healthy, get a lot of good work in last week, and introducing the game plan. I was proud of the way our team responded against Wisconsin. Just really played with intentional focus. I was proud of the way the guys stuck together, blocked out the noise. We're able to play 6 seconds of play, one play at a time for the entire game, keep chopping and get the win. We met as a team this morning and continued with our preparation and introducing our opponent, and we had a very focused, intense practice today. No hitting. We'll hit tomorrow and Wednesday, but the focus was there and the intent. So, we know what we have to do within our process to prepare. We're going to need to be tough, disciplined, and selfless this week and carry that to the game. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
Well, I'm wondering, going back to your first experience in this rivalry, back when you were a GA, and then to think of it now, how your earliest memories of it, because you didn't obviously grow up in it, and then how it's changed in terms of dynamics with some of the wins that Michigan State's had and success you've had over the years.
I just know it was a big game, and I don't remember all that much about it other than there was a big game. It was a typical rivalry game, and so it was important. So I remember that, and I'm not sure how much has changed. It's still a rivalry game. It's still an important game.
And Mel, I know obviously different team, different circumstances, but you still have some guys that were part of that 20 team that went to Michigan and big underdogs and all that going on the road. Is there anything you guys can take from that experience, especially the guys that were part of that, and apply to this week?
No, just play complimentary football for 60 minutes. Be tough. Be selfless. Be disciplined. Take care of the football. The week before we played that game, we turned the ball over 7 times. We didn't turn the ball over that week. So we were able to get the win.
Now, you referenced how you didn't really know the rivalry that well when you came here. But,
I knew it well.
But, you hadn't been here. But anyway.
You don't have to be here.
No, so for the guys that are new, whether they're freshmen or some of the transfers coming in, I know this has been a thing in the past, was last week a time where you were able to say, if you guys weren't aware, here's what this thing's about, or is that something they kind of already know?
No, we educate the players, and we talked about it more this morning than we did last week. So it's just an educational process with the new guys. Don't assume anything.
I'm wondering, after looking back at the film of the Wisconsin game and kind of moving forward into these last few games, you were able to use more 4-3 in that game. I'm wondering how much being able to blend that with the 4-2-5 helps the defense, and kind of what your analysis is on what you want to be in terms of either one, the other, or multiple.
We have to be able to match personnel. If they have bigger people out there, you need to put bigger people out there. And it's, depends on what type of formations. Are they going to be, more condensed formations? Or are they more conventional, pro formations? Or are they going to be more spread out like 11 personnel, 3 wide receiver sets with 2 tight end personnel? So we just match personnel, and we've done that all season. Just that particular team, they were more, they were in had bigger people out there more often, so we had to match more often.
Now, is there a bunker mentality you like about this, going down there and try to shock the world when nobody on the outside seems to think you can win?
A bunker mentality?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Going down, circling the wagons, going in there and trying to get a game that nobody thinks you can win?
Yeah, I mean, we're preparing and go down there and play a game. So, what does that take? It takes intentional focus. It takes, toughness, discipline, being selfless. That's what it takes. So, whether you want to call it circle the wagons or bunker mentality or taking it to the mattresses or, us against the world or whatever you want to call it, I mean, it is what it is. Nothing's changed. It's always going to be that way. So,
Mel in the front here again. I was wondering what you see from their rushing attack. They've obviously been one of the better teams in the nation on the ground. The two guys, Corum and Edwards, and I think they ran for more than 400 against Penn State. But just what makes them good and efficient in that?
yeah, they have a good line. They're well coached. The backs run hard. They can make you miss. They can run you over. They play hard. The receivers block. The tight ends block. And they're formation you, and they're going to shift and they're going to motion and they're going to make sure you sound and they make sure you can fit the runs. You got to make sure you're in position. So they have a good scheme and they have good players.
Mel, it looked like Slade and Henderson made a significant difference against Wisconsin, having them back. Having this bye week and getting guys healthy, is it perfect time to have that break?
Yeah, well, we use the time to get healthier and hopefully get some guys back. And so that's what the bye week is for, and we certainly use it for that. And we'll see who we can get back and get ready to play. But it does matter who's out there, and you can see a significant difference when you have two of your best players back out on the field.
Kind of along those lines, when you prepare for a game like this, a rivalry where emotions are intense, I guess, how do you, because Mark used to talk about keeping the lion in the cage for a week like this. With 2 weeks in between, how do you kind of keep that focus from not peaking too soon? And what are maybe the pluses and minuses of having that bye week before a rivalry?
Yeah, I didn't really see really any minuses for us, it's just all about the delivery of the information to the players and how it's presented to them in terms of what this game means and things like that. And so, we really didn't roll out the bulletin board material and all the videos and all that stuff until this morning, even though it's already out there. But we rolled that stuff out this morning just from an educational standpoint, so the players can get it from us and they don't have to get it from the outside, and then we build from there. But something like I told the players, is something that have to embrace. I've been very fortunate. I've been a part of some rivalry games, whether it's Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida, Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, Green Bay, Chicago, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Colorado, Nebraska. Those are rivalry games that people talk about every year, all year. So I've been a part of a significant amount of those. So it's really the delivery of the information and then the focus in what you take, day to day within the process to not get ahead of yourself and keep the main thing, which is the preparation. We know when the game's going to be played, and so we take it one day at a time from there with, intentional focus, and just relentless preparation, and it just builds throughout the week so that we can be at our best. Our best 60 minutes is ahead of us. We haven't played our best game yet.
Going into Ann Arbor this week, how do you prepare the younger players that might not be used to the hostile crowd noise since they played in East Lansing last year?
Yeah, we'll use crowd noise in practice. We'll show them videos, so that we'll make it uncomfortable for them in practice and in the meetings. so that they're not overwhelmed when they get to the game.
Going off of the rivalries you were just talking about that you've been a part of, what is different about this rivalry between Michigan State and Michigan?
Well, when it's in-state, it's different. You look at, you're fighting over the same recruits. You're traveling in the same circles. With the alums, you get, workplaces divided, households divided, things like that. So it's bragging rights. It's something you talk about every single day. There's not a day that's gone by since I've been here that it hasn't come up about this game. So, when you're in close proximity like that, I think it just adds to the intensity of it.
Well, I might be able to guess what you're thinking about this one, but considering you're the only Michigan State coach to win your first 2 games against Michigan, the potential to win the first 3, is that something that enters your mind at any point, or is that something that's maybe comes up in the summer or something like that?
Yeah, it only comes up, like in a situation like this. If someone brings it up, it's not part of my thinking.
I was wondering what you thought of Peyton's performance. I know it was more than a week ago now, but against Wisconsin, seemed like he was pretty efficient. Obviously turnover free, and did everything you guys really were looking for.
Yeah, but it was a winning performance, and that's what you gotta. That's what we have to have from him, as the quarterback of this football team. So, winning performance. And again, we haven't played our best 60, so we've got a lot of work to do.
Michigan's running backs have had a lot of explosive plays. How do you limit that?
Well, they have really good players, so when you're in position to make the play, you have to be able to make that play. From just generally speaking, in versus the run, we have to set edges, and build a wall inside. So you have to have gap integrity. Make sure the ball doesn't run through your gap, and then we have to make sure that we don't leave it up to just one guy, so we can't go 1-for-1 on blocking schemes. We have to be able to secure our gap or initial responsibility. Then once the ball can't challenge a gap, you have to violent shed and finish on the ball so that we can get population at the ball and finish on top. Don't leave it up to one guy. We have to do a really good job on perimeter run force, which is, on the edges with whoever the end of line support guy is. And a lot of times it's defensive backs. So, and had to do a really good job with crack replace. So a really good job on block protection on the edges, staying square, good pad level, good hand placement, keeping our outside foot back, and being able to make sure that we don't lose the edge, keep leverage on formations. So we had to do a really good job with, our motion adjustments and adjusting to formations, make sure we have good leverage on the formations, make sure that everybody knows what gap they have initially, but we have to do a really good job of violent shedding and finishing on the ball so we don't just leave it up to one guy, because we have to gain tackle and get population and form a human arrow on the ball carrier with population with good leverage and tackling.
On the other side, you guys were able to get a little more work done last week or 2 weeks ago in the run game. Mm-hmm. I guess, what did you see looking back on the offensive line that maybe changed some of that and the running backs? And then how critical is it for this offense to get something like that in the run game to set up what you do in the pass?
Yeah, we were able to play more complementary football and able to be more patient and stay with the run game. And then our efficiency was good. Our ball carriers ran hard. We blocked hard. The receivers blocked. Tight ends blocked. We were able to get in and out of the runs that we needed for the most part. And it was, we were just overall more efficient. We were able to string more positive plays together, which helps. But when you play complementary football and the score differential is reasonable, then you have an opportunity to, get the ball back and actually have an opportunity to, commit to the run and establish a run and stay with it throughout the whole game.
I was wondering, they made obviously there's a quarterback change from last year, and J.J. McCarthy. What your evaluation of him is? I think he leads the nation in completion percentage, but just what you see from him and the challenges he presents.
Yeah, he's a really good player. He's very confident, hyper competitive. He's got a good arm. He believes in his arm and arm strength. He's accurate with the ball. He's very mobile. So, he can extend plays. They have really good design quarterback runs for him to take advantage of his speed and his quickness. And they do a really good job from a scheme standpoint to make sure that, they take advantage of what the defense gives them in terms of whether it's free access or, short, quick throws, screens, things like that. And they do a great job of protecting him when they want to take shots down the field so that he can step up and have a clean pocket and be efficient. So, again, he's got a lot of good players around him as well. So he's a good player with good players around him and a good scheme, and they're well coached and they play hard. So I think that's why they're playing at a high level.
Mel, you mentioned a few weeks ago before the Ohio State game that winning a game like that begins with belief. And I'm wondering, do you see value for a lot of your guys being part of...
Did I say that?
You said that, yeah.
What did I say?
You said that winning a game against a team of that caliber began with believing that you could do it.
It begins with belief,
right,
yes.
Right. And so I'm wondering, does, when you're playing a team that's favored or whatever, is having a really good season, the value of a lot of these guys being part of the last two games, and then the value of the performance against Wisconsin in terms of how they're feeling about themselves and how they feel about the possibilities?
Yes, well, success leaves clues. So we were able to look at the Wisconsin game and say this is why we were able to have success, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. And, why were we efficient, like in the run game, or why were we able to get off the field on third down or create takeaways and things like that. So, we study those things, and then we want to make sure that we understand why we had success so that we can repeat it. Because if you don't understand why you were able to get it done, then it's hard to repeat that. So we spent a significant amount of time, with that, dissecting that game and breaking it down and explaining to our guys why we had success and why we didn't have success. So there's a clear understanding, and then we move to the next game plan. There's no shortage of belief or confidence in our group. It's more about preparation. We know that we need to play 60 minutes of complementary football to be able to get the job done. And so we have not played our best 60 yet. So that's our goal. And I showed the guys plays this morning of people having success against them in all three phases. It's about consistency and performance. Everyone makes plays on everyone during certain points of games. It's a matter of doing it consistently for 60 minutes and then finding a way to win a game in the fourth quarter. That's what it comes down to. I haven't seen anyone on tape this year that's not giving up plays in either, all three phases. So it's not a game of perfect, it's a game of consistency.
Mel, when was the last time that you played at the Big House when it was, or played or coached at the Big House when it was 100,000 strong? Because in 2020, there was really no one there.
Probably in 2001, my first year at Ohio State, we went in there, and then 2 years later, we went there again. I think it was 2003. Braylon Edwards beat us for the most part.
So just going off of that then a little bit, the environment is going to be pretty raucous on Saturday. how much are you kind of looking forward to playing in an environment like that again, since it's been quite some time that you've played in a packed big house?
Yeah, that's what big time college football is all about. This is not for everyone, but this is what we love to do. And so when you get an opportunity to play or coach on a stage like that, it's special. It's not everyone has an opportunity to do something like that, to perform, in front of the world, lay it on the line and put it all out there. And so that's what our players, that's what they expect to be able to do when you come here. Michigan State's play on, national TV versus great teams, on a huge stage, and have an opportunity to go out there and perform at your best, and put it all out there. And so, that's a great part about, doing what we do, because it's uncommon, and so, and it's an opportunity. So, of course, something that we look forward to as competitors, and knowing, that this is, the lives that we have chosen is to do things like this. But it's really, at this point in the week, it's about, one day at a time. How do we prepare for that opportunity? Because what matters most is what we do today. And so, but certainly, it's a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to seeing our guys play their best 60 of the season.
Mel, a lot of people say this is the best two-sport rivalry in the country, and some think it's the best interstate rivalry in the country. Michigan State, Michigan, and Auburn, Alabama, you've seen both of those. Mm-hmm. Is there a difference? Are they very similar?
Very similar. Very similar. A lot of similarities, so they feel very similar to me, just being a part of both of them. There's an intensity to the game, just because of the proximity, in state. Again, you're recruiting the same guys, you're traveling in the same circles. The alumni and the former players and everyone, everybody's in both schools, everybody's, choosing sides, and everyone is I believe that there's a respect factor when in the best rivalries. There's a respect factor, even though there is an element of dislike and hatred. There's still, an underlying respect deal, just because of the rivalry itself and what it means in sports in general. So, that's a part of it also that you feel. So it's special. Like I said, I've been fortunate to be a part of some of those, special rivalries in this sport. But yeah, it feels very similar. They're different though.
Families divided and nobody's in the middle. You're one side or the other, both of those?
I think for the most part. I'm sure there's some folks that may be in the middle. But there are families divided, and households divided, workplaces divided. So that's the great thing about it. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's Monday, right? Okay, so what do you want me to say?
I got two things for you, if I could. First, you mentioned the bye week practices. Were those very, Michigan focused sort of things to essentially give you a head start there? Was it more sort of like a training camp spring ball thing where you're more inward looking, more reflective, cleaning up your own issues type of stuff?
No, it was a game plan focus. We didn't hit, but we were introducing game plans and things like that, throughout the week, and then also getting some recruiting in at the beginning of the week, Monday and then on Friday. So some Thursday afternoon, we practice in the morning, so we're able to get out there and do some things. So we get extra time to prepare.
I also wanted to ask you about, being a player-led team has been a big theme for you guys this year. I'm just wondering, what does that look like this week? Are you seeing and hearing the right things from your players in regard to this game? And, is there like a throttle at any point? Like, is there too much that you don't want to hear, making them too much of it? Can it be too early? Do you want to see more and push that throttle up, I guess? What does that dynamic look like for you in a game like this?
Yeah, we'll see how things unfold throughout the week. We were good today. I made it clear to the players, like in terms of talking to the media and things like that, like it's we're not, we're talking about like our preparation and things that we can control, and we're not getting ahead of ourselves. There's a certain way to approach, every game. It just takes more discipline and intentional focus when it's a game of this magnitude, like a rivalry game. You are more focused and you're more disciplined, and you're less distracted, and you block out the noise even more. You don't add to the you don't want to add to the hype. There's going to be enough hype just organically, with the game itself. There's no reason to add more to it than need be. But obviously we have to educate our players, on the history of the rivalry, on the history of the trophy, on some of the history of the players are going to get the information from somewhere, right? So rather than get it from us, in the proper context, so they can put it in perspective and be educated and know, and then move forward and not let it, be a distraction. So, that's part of coaching and leading, is making sure that, everybody's pointing in the same direction, focus, and keeping the main thing, and not getting caught up in some of the other things that are not going to be beneficial to us in our preparation or help us play better. All right, thank you so much. Appreciate you coming out, covering the team, and we'll see you next time. Go Green.